Hey everyone, today's video is about the sun in your natal chart and where the sun falls, what house the sun falls in your birth chart, and finding that out without using any technology, with just using a simple chart. So the sun is considered in Western astrology to be to represent your ego and your personality. But really, because Western astrology is so sun centered and patriarchal and sun dominant, we overemphasize the sun when really there's three, as many, I'm sure many of you know. The sun, the moon, and the rising sign are all phases or aspects of our personality. And the sun holds a certain energy that is part of what makes us whole. So the sun is the active phase or the active principle. The sun is what we are becoming. It is our potential, this life. It is our vital force. So those of you who are familiar with traditional Western herbalism and vitalism, the sun in astrology is where we look for your vital faculties, what lights you up, what feeds you, what keeps your inner fires burning, your passion, your creativity, and your healing energy, as well as your evolutionary energy. As I said, the sun is what we are becoming. I was just talking to a friend recently who was saying that the sun is our sun sign is our avatar. So, and by that, what that means is that the sun is the form that we take in this life, that leads us, that carries us forward, that we grow from, that we grow with. In the Hindu tradition, an avatar, from the way that I understand it, an avatar is a being that is on earth to bring others, to carry others to God or the divine or the sacred. So they are in both worlds. They are beyond dualism and are able to bring others beyond dualism. And so that's what our sun sign is. It's our inner capacity to have direct realization of our true nature beyond dualism and what some people might want to say is our contact with God or the divine. So the sun is certainly very important. I'm not going to talk about the other aspects right now, the moon and the rising sign. I'll do that in another video. But for now, just think of the sun as the place you look for your inner connection, your inner capacity to relate to the world beyond dualism and beyond actually the individual. So the association with the ego that the sun holds is in the sense that our ego is sort of the vehicle, the navigating system that is directing us or driving us or informing us about where we need to go. So again, back to the avatar reaches for others and carries them or brings them or supports them in becoming beyond dualism and into direct realization of their true nature. And so in that sense, our sun is our ego. The ego is what knows what direction to take and can help us to take it. So in terms of your birth chart, I just want to talk a little bit about using an ephemeris. And you don't need to do this to know what house your sun is in, but I just want to talk about the ephemeris because I feel like since we've had computer programs to do our mathematical calculations, which I think is awesome, and I love my computer program, but I feel like also we've lost contact a little bit with some of the nuts and bolts or the ground of how astrology happens, the foundational understandings of the mathematics and the calculations and the science that's involved. So, an ephemeris is basically a monthly graph list of all of the planetary positions. So this is the 2022 ephemeris. So it goes January, and it tells you what degree the sun was in. It was at 10 degrees of Capricorn. And the moon was at 23 degrees of Sagittarius on January 1st. And so this, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this on the camera, but you can find a ephemeris online. This ephemeris in particular is in the We Moon journal. They print an ephemeris every year in their journal. You can buy full century ephemerises. This is from the 20th century. This is well used because when I needed this in the early 1990s, when I started studying astrology, there were no computer programs for this. So we needed to do all the calculations with this. You don't really need to worry about that, but just for fun, I just wanted you to know that if you were born, for instance, on January 18th, you can look in the ephemeris and see where all the planets were positioned. You can't find your rising sign this way. You do need to do some other calculations, but you can find your moon. So on January 18th, the sun was in Capricorn and the moon was in Leo. So your moon would be in Leo if that's the day you were born. Okay. So what house is your sun in? Well, I made this little graph, and you can also find these online now. But this is the 12 houses of the zodiac. So if you go get your natal chart read, all of the planets in the signs that they were in will be laid out based on mathematical calculations on this wheel. And there's 12. It starts here with your rising sign, and it actually goes, I'm not sure if this is reversed on the camera, but it goes counterclockwise, starting with the first house over here, which each house is also assigned a time. So there's a time of day. This is basically a 24-hour period. And there's a time of day that is associated with each house. And then each house contains 2 hours of the day. So 2 hours per house equals 24 hours. 12 houses, 2 hours each equals 24 hours. So if you know your birth time, you can find out what house your sun is in, which tells you what field of experience will be really shining for you in this lifetime. The sun is where you shine. That's probably the simplest way to explain the sun. So 6 a.m., 4 a.m., 2 a.m., midnight, 10 p.m., 8 p.m., 6 p.m., we go all the way around. So if you were born so 6 a.m. is on the first house. If you were born at 6:30 a.m., your sun will be in the first house. If you were born at 8:30 a.m., your sun will be in the 11th house. Now, that's not going to tell you the exact degree, but it will tell you the field of experience. The other thing is, so say your sun was, the sun was in Libra when you were born, and you were born at 2:30 a.m. So you would be over here in the second house based on this. Now, this is going to change by the day where Libra is and whatnot. So that's pretty simple. And I just wanted to share that little bit with you, and we'll go on to maybe some more videos about some other little tricks and tips and concepts around the signs and their placement. Bye for now.